discussion, so it's not pressing, so if we'd like to take care of other business ahead of that, that's no problem.
How about if we put it in ahead of the attorney report?
Sure.
So it'll be after what's on the agenda is item 15. Any other changes, questions, comments from the audience on that? All right, with that, I would hear a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item number 3.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, removing number 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll move to public comments, an opportunity for the public to address the City Council. Please note that we won't engage in any discussion or take any action tonight on items presented unless they're already on the agenda. But we may refer issues to staff for follow-up or consideration at a future meeting. Speakers should state their name and home address at the podium before speaking. We'd ask you to try to keep your comments below 3 minutes. And if it's a subject that's already been adequately addressed by someone else, we would ask that you hold your comments at this point. Anyway, welcome. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jim Tyson. I live at 1295 Cumberland Avenue. Tonight's agenda item number 12 for Stubbs Bay LID will be presented after public comments. Likely Eric Evanson will take Minnetonka Association to present, as he did August 26th, 2024, to the previous council. Melissa, you may have been present for that. Obviously, no one else was. I am here again in opposition to the formation of LIDs in Orono for the following reasons. I will address only issues related to the city this time, but there are many related to the residents as well. Item number 1, costs associated to manage a LID by city staff. See Carmen's Bay dating back to 2017 to understand the city involvement for archiving records, reporting to the county as well as to the state. Recognized as a bay might be added, they are each their own entity and will require similar staffing needs, county and state reporting, and council's time. State statute places liability on the city and holds harmless the state of Minnesota. The city will be asked to manage a public body of water owned by the state. Does this serve all residents of Orono, or is this unnecessary bureaucracy along with unnecessary risk? Eric Evanson was before LNCD on February 12th. He wants more LIDs without putting more treatment costs on public agencies. In closing, I reiterate that I am opposed to the creation of LIDs in Orono and would ask that the City Council do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I'm Gabriel Jabor, 985 Tonka Road. Although my comment might sound negative, I'm really here with the intent of being helpful and kind, if I could do that. As some of you have received many emails from me on and off, a sense of frustration about the way things are going regarding publishing and asking for people to get jobs prior to you figuring out who's on first was extremely distasteful to me. And as I was sitting in out of town, my residence, I couldn't tell you how many phone calls I got. I'm here to ask the council to be kind to me. Get rid of those phone calls. You could do it very easily by being a little bit more forthcoming on what's happening within a day, a year, 5 years. I'm equally as frustrated, and I want to express my frustration with 3 of your employees. I want to express my absolute outrage about our fire chief who betrayed his former employee and set on to destroy their business. He could do that, but morally and way I was grown up, that's unacceptable. I don't find it appropriate for him to be my fire chief and working with my tax bill. I'm equally disappointed with our law firm who allowed 2 contempt of court to occur. Counselor, you and I always met in here before the meeting as you're trying to make your way here, and I ambushed you and I pleaded with you to find a way to have the former council see the light. And if you didn't, I'm amazed you sat there and seen him do that. Finally, I'm extremely find it inappropriate the direction that our city administrator, mind, not manager, profound statutory difference between administrator and manager, continue perpetuating the old regime. The citizens spoke, and they didn't speak gently, they spoke loudly in masses. We might be Republican, we might be Democrat, but we are a fiscally conservative city. And you, Mr. Mayor, were the first one to show us where we were going on a video. I'd like to see the day that will be implemented. More important, we did not send a tone to where the direction of the city is going. Now, I'm going to ask you for a couple of things, a little bit more than I think you think I should ask you. I kindly ask you to do a freeze. Nothing. Nothing. Do not redesign public works. Do not order anything. We built this campus, and I was a project manager. And me and Steve have built that station, actually, after many, many days of debate. We built this as a campus. I bought, as a mayor, engaged the school and bought 2 additional acres for public works. Our city, look at the amount of people who live there and project where they're going to be. 20 to 30% of our roads are county. 20 to 30% of our roads are private roads. The population haven't increased. I don't understand the need of it. And the idea we were sold on the issue of a campus that the efficiency is so phenomenally good because people could walk from one department to another. They need a conference. We have a joint conference room, etc., etc. I had discussion, and you have a copy of his letter from the CEO. Now, he's no longer the CEO, the new generation took over, how old we're becoming, of Cross Anderson, who helped the school district, reluctantly helped the school district, reluctantly helped Orno, because they live in Orno, and he helped us. And you asked me, Steve, when you were on the hockey, how did we build that so cheap? And to help you with that too, that he would be more than happy, at no cost to you, to view the building and see how he could recommission it. He'll be back in town shortly, and he'll be more than happy to do that. We are not stuck with it. Please do not let the coming 50 years pay for it. Besides the man-hour, and I really urge you to re-engage Ron Olson and have him give you, I know you met with him, have him give you a little bit insight on the fact the city has in it. The city towards the end was being ran by bribe. To keep people happy, they get the new engines. We hired a city clerk at $100,000. Now, we've done a phenomenal amount of work, and I'm grateful to our predecessor. I learned from them a lot. I know I'm overshooting the three minutes, and I'm going to try to cut it short. So, the second thing I want to remind you, that we are a plaintiff, joined the plaintiff against Orno. 3 of us, me, former Mayor Jim White, and former Mayor Barbara Peterson, in an appellate court case which you kept it pending. We are being asked to have oral, we're in court, you're in court. I do not want to be against the city of Orno with this new council. I'm wondering if you had strategic reason for that case not being dismissed by Orno. I would only assume they give you more reason to have executive session and discuss issues, and if that isn't there, might not be a reason for you to do so. And the final thing, this is the most controversial of the comments. There's a group of us is trying to take the former mayor, make sure he gets it, and Bob Erickson and Matt Johnson to court under the RICO Act. We believe we have enough evidence to prove that they will be guilty under RICO Act. And if we are prevailed civilly, the Attorney General will take it criminally. The only thing we're trying to do is get enough critical mass to have standing. And I'm sure, Counselor, you know what I'm talking about. And so the question is, how much stomach pain is going to cause you? And should we yield to you? And I think you guys should talk about it and get back to me. I don't want to win at all costs. That's in our rearview mirror. And thank you for your service. And congratulations.
Hi, Kelly Perkle, 4705 Watertown Road. A couple of things. I want to thank you all for the hard work that you put in at the onset of your terms, those of you who are new, as well as just bringing in the new council. It's not easy, I'm sure, to navigate the challenging waters of finding a new solution for fire, and I'm grateful, as someone who's been very vocal over the last couple of years, very grateful to have an interim plan, and I look forward to learning more about the future plans long term. I also just want to mention for those who are listening and watching that we have a special election coming up, and there will be a League of Women Voters event here on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. where you can meet the candidates who choose to join us, and I look forward to that very much and hope to see a large community presence at that event, again here at City, or in the council chambers. And then also a tour of the Public Works Building on Thursday at 4 p.m. For anyone who's interested. And I know myself, I'm very interested in seeing the building after so much discussion. So just wanted to make those announcements. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Bruce Lemke, 565 Old Crystal Bay Road, and I am running for the open council seat. And Kelly kind of stole my thunder. Just wanted to mention Wednesday night, get as many people as we can. Saturday morning, we'd love to see her. That's all I got. Thank you.
And thank you for running. Anyone else?
Jay Nyger, 1386 West Point Road. Y'all know me pretty well, I'm sure everybody out here does. You know, I'm here because interestingly enough tonight is Adam Edwards' basically yearly review. And I thought this was a perfect time to remind you of who Adam Edwards really is, as opposed to what he tells you he is in all these meetings. There's a big difference. Okay? We live in this community. We have to deal with city staff. And when you have city staff such as Adam Edwards, who chooses to pick sides, chooses who he likes better than others, chooses to cover up certain things for like the former mayor and other stuff, it's very difficult for those of us who've lived here all our lives and are simply looking to be treated fairly. And, you know, case in point, we'll come in a little bit, but first I'd like to talk about the public works. Adam Edwards is a civil engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer. I was made in nuclear power. I install extremely complicated solar systems. I have to deal with Xcel Energy, all kinds of utilities, and government regulations. I kind of know what it's like to be an engineer, and a civil engineer is actually kind of at the bottom of the engineer spectrum. It's not as hard to get there, because it's not nearly as complicated. And unfortunately, Adam Edwards himself has shown that he has very little comprehension as to civil engineering. This gentleman at one time tried to tell me that a 30-year-old driveway settling was the issue over a newly built road that was dumping water under a property. I mean, any civil engineer would know a 30-year-old driveway settled a long time ago and the new road happens to be the issue. Excuse me, sir?
Water runs downhill.
You know, if you have something to say, you are more than welcome to come out here in front of the microphone and take your few minutes. And yes, water does flow downhill, and the fact that you guys constructed a poor road and then tried to blame me, tried to force illegal requirements on me, and then when I wouldn't capitulate, criminally prosecute me and my wife, which by the way, we were both exonerated. I was found not guilty representing myself at trial. She was dismissed after for lack of probable cause. But your use of the criminal code to try to intimidate people and to use their wives to try to intimidate people is bullshit. And now you're sitting up here doing this stuff, water flows down. Yeah, water flows down when you have a driveway that's here for 30 years and you build the road higher and the water's going to go in. You don't know that? That's why you're a problem. Just one of the reasons. And that's just my personal interaction. I mean, do we really want in this community city staff that's going to basically approve poorly designed things, you know, incompetent staff, and then what do? When it's pointed out they screwed up, they go after the people and suggest, not only suggest, but then demand that the people pay their own money to fix the city's problem. And then, when the people don't spend their own money to fix the city's problem, we're going to criminally prosecute. Is that the type of people we want interacting with our residents? I mean, really, give me a break. That's just a personal stuff. You know, you can keep doing that all you want. I'm not going to stop till I'm done. And I appreciate that you keep doing it to me and you didn't do it to Gabriel. What did I just say about bias? Public Works.
Let's try to keep the decorum, shall we?
Public Works has been an issue for a while. I had confidential informants come to me, talk to me about the racist and sexist work environment, talk about the hostile work environment, led by the now Public Works Director, DJ Goldman, and Adam Edwards covered this stuff up. He told Goldman, oh, NIGAR's reporting this, but just wait, you know, it'll all blow over. They eventually had to fire the individual who was causing all the issues, because Goldman couldn't protect him anymore. He'd been so egregious with his behavior. But none of this would happen if I didn't bring this to light. And we didn't have things going on in the city to investigate what's going on. That's the only reason anything happened. But we have a gentleman here who not only covered up a hostile and racist workplace, he covered up illegal gifts to the city. He didn't punish the people. He helped cover it up. He also helped cover up the dumping of sewage into North Arm. The sewage had been dumping there for a while. I took a sample, I tested it. It was full of E. coli. I showed that on the video for everybody to see. They cleaned it out and then tested it and said it was okay. All the while, they're dumping E. coli into North Arm. This is incompetence, completely. But last, and certainly not least, this gentleman is called a city administrator. And there is a specific code in our code that says, except for the purpose of inquiry, the member of the council shall not deal with, or exercise control over the administrator of the city, and as a member shall not give orders to any department head, either publicly or privately, except through a majority vote of the council. And we all know doggone well that that guy was sitting down with Mayor Walsh, time and time again taking direction. He should know this code, he's a city administrator, that's his job, yet he had no problem being directed one-on-one by the mayor for years. This gentleman's interest isn't in the city, this gentleman's interest is in his pocketbook and saving his job. And I really hope you people understand that and consider it, because there's two things that are in his deal tonight that I highlighted. One is to create and maintain a professional and positive work environment, and that surely never happened in public works. Okay, I've got people inside who told me that. And lastly, to foster a healthy working relationship between council, staff, and community. And how the heck is that gonna happen when this guy is up here saying there's a conspiracy against him? Saying there's a conspiracy on the internet and social media against him. You know what? It's not a conspiracy. It's a groundswell of residents who can see what's going on and want change. But to really call me in a conspiracy, you're full of it, dude.
Anyone else?
My name is Ben Beach, live at 1065 Willowview Drive. Currently serve as a lieutenant on the Long Lake Fire Department. Been a member for coming up on 8 years. I'm also a lieutenant on the Laurel Fire Department, and I've been with the department since its inception. Let me just begin by expressing my gratitude for
Yeah, hopefully
If you need to run, that's okay, but,
I just want to thank you for your efforts for bringing the departments together. It's been what we've wanted since day one. So I appreciate it. I know that you, in our conversations, you've shared some frustrations, and I appreciate you guys working through that. That being said, read through everything and do have a few things that I'd like to bring up. Before we go ahead and blow up both service models, I think it'd be important to look at first the cohesion and the morale between the two departments. I think they're, obviously firefighters were passionate people, and fire services have been a hot button item in this community for a number of years, lots of strong opinions, and with that has come some harassment. There's bad blood between people, relationships have been fractured. And I think if we're going to work together as a joint department, hopefully, in the near future, I think we really need to focus on that and get these people together before we start responding jointly. The second piece, reading through that Exhibit C, says that Orono firefighters have priority to take duty crew shifts. Long Lake firefighters can fill in where needed if they want to. And then it also goes on to say that certain equipment from both departments can be used so long as people are properly trained on those pieces of equipment. The reality is, most of the Long Lake firefighters have never used or touched the Orono equipment, and vice versa. The part-timers at Orono have never used the Long Lake equipment. So again, before we go blowing up both service models, I think it'd be in all of our best interest to get these groups back together. And I don't think it's out of the question to say that bringing in professional mediation to help rebuild those bridges that have been burned, I don't think that's out of the question. And then training. We haven't done any joint training to this point, so to say that we're gonna all of a sudden start doing joint operations and responding jointly and doing joint duty crews, I think it's putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit. So, I do understand that, public comment at this point, probably not gonna do anything. I think you probably made up your minds, but I do want to just ask that you take my comments into consideration as you go to vote tonight.
appreciate your input. Anybody else?
Mayor, council members, my name is Jake Wilkowski, I live at 6809 Greenville Avenue in Richfield. I'm a husband to an incredible woman who grew up right here in the Long Lake, Orono area. She's a proud Spartan, a lifetime product of the Orono Public Schools. That's my childhood. I'm Agnes Point, and my parents lived there until their retirement. My mother-in-law lives on Long Lake. My kids have grown up swimming in these waters and fishing in these shores. Like many of you, this area lives in my family's memories and in our hearts. I'm also, my third and most important job, beyond being a husband and a dad, I'm the Deputy Fire Chief at the Orono Fire Department. I've been a firefighter for 18 years. I've served in nearly every capacity the fire service has to offer, and volunteered to full-time career firefighter. Firefighting is not something I do, it's who I am. It's who we are. Men and women of the Orono Fire Department and the Long Lake Fire Department, this is not a hobby. It's our calling, it's our purpose, and it's our duty. Collectively, your Orono firefighters bring more than 300 years of experience across over 25 departments. When the city of Orono asked for help, when it needed professionals to build a fire department from the ground up, we raised our hands. We answered the call, because that's what firefighters do. We knew it wouldn't be easy. We knew there would be resistance, skepticism, maybe even some criticism. But we believed our actions, our dedication, our professionalism would earn the community's trust over time. What we didn't expect, what none of us could have imagined, was the endless waves of toxic misinformation, public attacks, and political maneuvering that would follow. We stayed silent while our motivations were questioned, while our professionalism was dismissed by those with no fire service experience. We didn't respond when we were mocked, or when self-proclaimed experts who have never once responded to an emergency claimed to know how we should do our jobs. We took the high road when every aspect of the department that we built together was falsely ridiculed and politicized. Ironically, some of the same critics who once claimed the OFD model was unsafe are now supportive of an agreement that blatantly plagiarizes the very OFD model that they previously claimed ineffective. We didn't ask to be part of a political battle. We were asked to serve. We were asked to build. And we did. We've given the city a fire department that's modern, sustainable, and effective. We've given the city a fire department that they can and should be proud of. Yes, it costs money. Quality service always does. But let's get real. $20,000 a week to protect billions of dollars of property and thousands of citizens' lives is a bargain. We are not here to be the cheapest. We are here to be the best when your family needs us the most. If the goal is the cheapest fire department, then let's be honest. Have no fire department at all. But know this, when you go cheap, you lose houses, you lose lives, and eventually you'll pay more trying to fix what should have never been broken in the first place. Fire doesn't give warnings, heart attacks don't care what the name of your fire department is. When you call, we come, trained, equipped, and ready, because we've taken an oath that if your life is in danger, we'll risk ours to save it. That's what $20,000 a week buys you. Dedicated, trained professionals willing to sacrifice themselves for you and your loved ones. And if you think that's not worth the cost of a venti Starbucks per citizen per month, then I sincerely hope you never have to learn the value of the hard way. But despite all of this, despite the hostility and the half-truths, we've never wavered. We've kept showing up, we've kept answering your calls, and we delivered. Since July 2024, the Orono Fire Department has not lost a single dollar's worth of property to fire. Not one. You saved lives. Homes and businesses have been protected. We've done everything the city asked of us and more, quietly, humbly, because that's the job. So imagine our disbelief when we saw the proposed agreement that's been drafted. An agreement created without our input, by a team with no modern industry knowledge, no operational insight, and no interest in the professionals who made this department what it is. Let me be clear. This agreement is multiple steps backwards. It undermines everything we built. It gives away our people. It gives away operational control. It guts the very heart of the Orono Fire Department. If you approve this agreement in its current form, you're not just dismantling a high-performing team. You are endangering lives. Worst of all, because I'm standing here as a veteran fire service professional telling you as plainly as I can, this agreement is dangerous.
Oh my God.
Not only did the team that drafted this agreement move forward without a single current fire professional in the room, worst of all, they broke their promise. They told us, the firefighters and the citizens, that the process would be transparent, inclusive, and informed by those who had lived and breathed this work. That did not happen. We built this department with our hands, our blood, our time, our commitment. And all we ask is that you see us, that you value what we've done, that you make decisions not based on fear or lawsuits or politics, but on safety, truth, and the well-being of the community. We are not asking for praise. We're asking for partnership. There's still time to do this the right way. Table this short-term agreement and focus on a long-term consolidation plan that involves the experts, involves your firefighters, and prioritizes public safety, not political convenience. We're asking to be part of the solution because we are the solution. Let us help, let us lead, let us do what we were called here to do. Thank you.
Cody Barley, 328 Mott Street, Long Lake, current Assistant Chief for Long Lake Fire Department. The agreement that you're going to be considering tonight regarding fire service is not dangerous. What is dangerous is having these two cities attempt to operate two separate fire departments in our one larger community. If we continue down that road, both departments will struggle, both departments will fall short of their expectations. This community needs one department serving the entire community, which is the direction you are currently headed, so thank you for taking on that challenge.
Anyone else?
From Warno? Or, I mean,
It doesn't matter where you're from, just tell us where you're from.
Kelly Grady, Long Lake. I'm sitting here listening and was a long time advocate of bringing the two fire departments back together. I will say that I do agree with something that Shay said just now, which is that you will pay more to fix what was never broken, which was the problem with Orono Fire from the start. The city of Orono was never able to point to an issue with the service that was being provided by the Long Lake Fire Department that justified the need to spend tens of millions of taxpayer dollars for decreased public service without their consent or any input. That is the problem with the Orono Fire Department. I disagree with him that anyone has disparaged firefighters. I don't think there's anyone disparaging firefighters. They are disparaging how we got here. The divisive nature of tearing apart the Long Lake Fire Department from the jump without consulting any external experts, by stealing their firefighters, by stealing their chief, by outright buying trucks from underneath them, and all of the other things that allowed the city of Orono to be held in contempt of court twice for a violation of their contract. He said it undermines everything that they have built, Orono Fire. Orono Fire Department, the previous administration, undermines everything that Long Lake Fire has built and the partnership that they've built with this city for nearly 25 years, and the service that they did to this, they've done with this community for 110 years. It was a hostile takeover of a 110-year-old department. And he's going to sit up here and say that there were people out there basing decisions on fear-mongering and lies, while he comes up here and does the exact same thing tonight, is so disingenuous. I feel sick to my stomach. Anybody, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna keep going. Anybody who knows what's going on right now knows that the paid on-call staffing numbers are well below what this city needs for the Navarre area. There are 8 paid on-call firefighters, the majority of which live outside of the call area. On average, 30% of firefighters, paid on-call firefighters, respond to those calls, which means if there's someone having a heart attack in Navarre right now, they're gonna get, 3 firefighters at most from outside of the call area to respond to them, and they know it. They're going to sit up here and talk about how we need more time to train together and all of this stuff, while all the while they were building this department brick by brick and fast-tracked service to the Navarre area when they didn't have to. They didn't have they didn't have a boat, They were borrowing tanker trucks, they were understaffed by 2/3, and they knew it. They fumbled the lakeshore coverage that was happening on Lake Minnetonka that caused a huge blunder, and all of those things. They sat up here and justified and said, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this. While all the while, they were presenting the public with false data to justify the department that they built. They were presenting the department with a false narrative that they were prepared with equipment, when half of their equipment they haven't even received only a few months ago. So they're going to sit up here and say that the Long Lake firefighters need to learn how to use this equipment and all of those things that they've only had for a few months themselves. Nearly all of the paid on-call firefighters, all 8, are serving on the Long Lake Fire Department today and have trained on that equipment and with this crew. All of the firefighters who are duty crew and part-time firefighters that currently work for the Orono Fire Department could leave tomorrow and work for any other fire department and be trained in to work with them and learn that equipment and be more than adequate firefighters for any department. If they believe that's true, which they say, then they believe it's true that we can bring these 2 departments back together again. And we can have the staff, the number of staff that is actually finally adequate to serve this community. Because even under James Van Isle, when he was the chief, which he has testified in court, they never met their full staffing numbers, and now we will by bringing them together. So to sit up here and say that it's going to risk lives when now the Navarre area is going to be covered by 40+ firefighters between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. is disingenuous, and it is absolutely fear-mongering. And it's wrong. It's wrong. They're going to sit up here and cry and whine and say that people are just going after firefighters. No one is. We're all saying they'll be better together. All of us. We know they'll be better with Long Lake Fire. They all will. As far as some of the other comments that were made, one of the things I could not agree with more, and I have been screaming from the rooftops to anyone that will listen to me, is that there absolutely needs to be a mediator brought back in for these firefighters. What has happened to them over the course of years under the previous administration has caused morale problems and has caused issues between the firefighters that were absolutely unnecessary. None of this had to be done this way. None of it. And they deserve to have support. And this community deserves to have the fire department they deserve. And they're going to get it when you guys can bring these fire departments back together and develop a long-term solution that benefits everyone in this community. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hi, Chris Adams, Spring Park. I'm coming up on an 18-year veteran at the Long Lake Fire Department. I'm currently a captain of the Orono Fire Department. I'll be brief. When you guys ran for office, it was under promise basically to come up with a one department solution. No argument there. That's the path forward. When you guys came and talked to us one time in Orono Fire prior to being sworn in, you mentioned using a third party to come up with a solution to this. Doesn't sound like that's happened. Haven't heard from any of you people since. When we talked about risking lives, one of the reasons why Orono Fire can, in a time-effective manner, serve the citizens of the fire area is because Long Lake sued you guys to prevent us from occupying a building that you own 100%. So the stranglehold isn't us. So let's just clear that up right now. What I will say, and I said to you guys when you came and visited, that no matter how we got here, we're here now. And you being the biggest square mileage, biggest population, biggest wallet, you should be calling the shots here and not capitulating to the city. You should be bringing them into this organization, not vice versa. I don't care how you guys got to this agreement, but it seems like I know what Chief said, and this seems like a step backwards. seems like putting things back the way they were and causing more, well, I'm gonna get emotional here, I'll just leave it at that. I think you guys are making a mistake. You're doing it ass backwards. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you all for your comments. We will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is, why don't we go to the item number 3 that was pulled out of the consent agenda? And is that you that pulled it out?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a housekeeping issue here. I noticed that on the amended appointment and commission, excuse me, schedule, May 6th, we had Councilmember Barrett attending that meeting, and it occurs to me that that may be something we want to reorder, given that Councilmember Barrett won't be reporting back on that meeting, so it's just a consideration